Welcome, everyone, to the Water and Sewer meeting of June 7th, 2022. We'll start off with approving the minutes. John, you want to?
So moved.
Okay, motion been made. The minutes have been approved, May 3rd minutes. John Dupree from Trinity Engineering is going to be next. John?
So can I move?
Yes, by all
I'll
means.
just move that.
Sure.
I can lay the plan out. So Tony and I have been talking and working up some plans for a force main along Mackinac Road. The purpose of which, what's driving it is we're working for the McKiernans who are at 1 Interlaken Road. Let me get myself
Crossroads.
Yeah, Crossroads, thank you.
Yep.
Down here, 21 Interlaken. And they have a septic system we're trying to upgrade, but the site has extensive wetlands. We just don't have enough of a footprint to really do a Title V system. And so unfortunately, you have to sort of look for options off-site. And there's a sewer down here on Interlaken Crossroad, and then there's a connecting point down here on Mackinac basically across from Beechwood Drive. So what we're at a high level kind of proposing is to put in a pump chamber in the backyard of 21 Interlaken and put a 2-inch force main and push that about 1,800 feet down the road to connect to a manhole that's right in Mackinac on the east side across from Beechwood. So that would be sort of an E1 pump system. That's a manufacturer. You guys, I think, are familiar with that.
I have one.
Yeah. Super durable pump. Hopefully you're happy with it.
Both do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do if you
I
want
got
to.
okay.
Well, I've replaced it already, so.
Did you? Okay. So I was just
Anyway.
I'm not a salesman, but they are a strong pump, but it can easily push that far. And then, in talking to Tony, he's given me some, we talked initially just so we get some framework for what he would be looking for, the Sewer and Water Commission would be looking for. And we're envisioning directionally drilling this. So we push the pipe, push steel rods through, pop up every 400 feet, and then pull the HDPE pipe back. So we'd have, sort of receiving pits every 400 feet or so, which would then turn into manholes, right? So we'd put a manhole in that pit. You'd have a cast iron cover to grade. You'd be able to go down there and they would become flushing points. So you could flush uphill or downhill.
This is all off the highway.
Proposed to be off the highway, we're hoping.
Yep, just off the edge of the pavement. We've got a surveyor engaged who's going to just confirm these property lines. We do have some evidence that we found, but we're engineers, so we're gonna let them sort that out and confirm. Mm-hmm. The only place we'd have to cross the road is where we'd go from the east side to the manhole. And again, we looked at that with 2 drillers, and both drillers felt that that's something that they could push across and then drill into that manhole. That manhole's really deep too, 11 feet or something. So it gives us a great target. And then we'd come in and do a drop invert down and discharge into the invert.
1,800 feet, you think?
Yeah, about 1,800. And that's measured sort of, Joe, from here to here. And then there's that little segment there that's, and then we'll put in this manhole, a fitting looking up the road. So if you ever someone wanted to come in and extend that could be extended.
Now, connections for homeowners,
We're providing for those in the profile view, which is, so I turn it this way. This is Interlaken along the road. We'll have service connection locations for the houses across the road on either side that presently aren't connected. Down or up here to the north, there's a few houses that are already connected. So 18 is connected, 16 and 14 we determined were connected. So we're not going to put connections in for them because I think they got a gravity line yeah, right, Tony.
they share one.
Yep. But like 12 does not. So that would have provisions for that. Sarah McKiernan is the daughter of Betsy who lives in the house. Sarah's working with others in the neighborhood to see if they want to kind of cooperate and get in on this together.
Well, that was my next question. I know at the town meeting, you did a presentation and she also stood up and spoke, and she was saying, about the cost of this, which is hefty. And
is.
if, that'd be great if the homeowners would assist on that, that's for sure.
Yeah, Sarah's handling that, we're splitting up so we can, divide and conquer. She's working with, the people that are interested, and we're getting a lot of help from Claire Pollard, and also who's the real estate agent.
I've spoken with Claire a few times.
Yeah, she's super helpful.
Good.
So I'm kind of doing the technical, those two, Sarah and Claire have that well in hand. And so, yeah, but you're right. It's probably something that's on the order of $100,000. So
That's a hefty.
it's a hefty bill, and it's a lot for one house, and it will serve, it does literally serve others, but we understand the position that the town is in at the moment. So we're not coming to the town asking for the town to pay for this, right? We're basically asking for permission to install this network, and Tony's made it clear that, so the network goes in, there's a 1-year warranty is our understanding, and then, it's turned over to the town, and then the maintenance is then picked up by the town for the force main, not for each individual pump.
And you're fine with this design, Tony?
This is just the overlay. John and I have sat down once, and we need to do it again. And there's just some fittings and things that we need to be on the same page about in the manholes and stuff, which can be worked out easily. I think just making sure we're both thinking in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we'll get to come up with a.
And that could be,
Yeah.
that could be simply taken care of.
Yeah, so where we are on the permitting, if you go back to this site plan, there's extensive wetlands up and down the road. So we've had those delineated. I'd like to go into the Concom and get, a permit for this work. What we're looking for, if we could get it at this meeting, is just kind of the weather report, a consensus from you guys. Okay, that looks good generally in terms of being on that side of the road and the approach and the, manholes every 400 feet, service connections for each house that's not connected. If I had that sense, what I would do is I would move forward with the Concom. And, if you think about the work that we'd have, we're going to have the receiving pits every 400 feet. So it's still fenced there, and there might be a drilling, plan that we put forward to handle breakout fluids if there was some breakout fluids from the drilling. But, we've already got one. We've dealt with that before. So, we'd like to get permission from the Concom to do that. That's kind of a longer permit track. So while that's happening, Tony and I can work out the details. And I think however it works, whether I come back in or Tony takes it forward, we get that final approval.
So
from
you
guys.
get all your approvals. How long do you think this will take?
Well, we'd like to get it installed this year. That's what we're hoping to do, So
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, so am I.
I am too.
yeah, so if that's a preliminary sort of approval, that's fine with what you've been shown, I'm happy with that. I know we need to do more work on it.
Yeah.
We'll get through that.
Yeah, we have plenty of time.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
And if anything comes up, follow up to me through Tony, and I'll be glad to take care of it. Appreciate your time.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys. Yes.
Just maybe you could pass this on Friday, and I don't remember the lady's name, I've got her, but she's number 17.
Okay.
And she was asking how to get in contact with you or somebody to talk.
Do you have her contact? I'll send you an email. How's
Okay, that
We'll
sounds
get her
good.
contact and
All right,
we'll make
yeah.
that happen.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for setting this up.
Thanks, John.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Take care. Bye, Mike.
See ya.
It's going to be a good little project, and that's our only real viable option, if you will.
Well, when she came into the town meeting, she explained all the thing, and he did too. He was very articulate, I thought, at the meeting too.
Yeah.
Explaining all that. So, yeah. And it's going to be a win-win for the people on the street.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's,
Unfortunately, two people that I know of don't even have the grass up yet on the septic systems that they just put in, but, well,
oh, well, yeah. Update on the bidding on pumps, Park Street.
so we are going to rebid. There's going to be a couple changes to the bid format. with regards to some equipment that we're going to try to keep due to lack of availability for, with the crisis on, getting equipment. So I guess their concern was, is the genset, which is a 2015 Kohler 25 kW unit, which I guess we can reuse. It's been serviced every year. So there needs to be some, redrawings and reconfigurations on the electrical side of things. So that'll take a little bit of time. And due to a 60-week possible wait time on a new set, which would be the station, hopefully it gets bid and constructed, we wouldn't want to be waiting for that to be able to use it.
I agree. Yeah.
So it may save us time and it may save us some money. So I'm hoping that within the last part of June here, they have a document for us to review and we can check it out and approve it and they can get us out to bid. That's kind of where we're at.
Perfect. That's good. So that hopefully we'll have that thing built by the end of the
Yeah,
year.
and I think the turnaround time is what, 4 weeks, Mike, once it goes out or something?
Well, the bid process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it's actually,
It's 6 weeks, but once it's out, it's 4 weeks.
Yeah, right.
After that, then we can award it. So right now, even if it goes out in the next week or so, we're talking not till mid-July approved. So it's gonna be tight to fit it in
yeah,
this year. Probably worst case scenario would be.
it's okay. As long as we can get,
Fall,
As long as it's,
or
as
spring.
we can award to
long as we have a contract.
have a decent bid and,
Now, we also have, hopefully, we're going to have more than one bidder this time.
well, according to our engineer, he's reached out again. And there's 3 or 4 people that didn't have their DCAM certification. One that we know of that we like, and they seem hungry to bid the job. So
Good.
we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, we don't have control over that.
No, we don't, but that would, yeah, certainly competition is our best friend. Okay, good. That backflow ordinance,
Yeah, I emailed you guys the copy of it that I kind of made some, alterations to. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys read it or not, but I added the stuff I
Yes.
read.
it's really pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward, pretty simple. Like I said before, this just goes into our rules and regulations document that we have. And I guess you guys just need to vote on it and we make it policy and it's adopted and the DEP is happy, so.
Yeah. John, you want to make a motion that?
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept it as presented by Michael.
I second it. Any discussion? So moved. So it's approved.
Easy
So
enough.
that'll go in the, yeah.
I will email
Easy enough.
DEP tomorrow and let them know that we did that. They'll probably want me to send a copy of the minutes, Jennifer, when you type them up, and we approve them at the next meeting, I'll actually send them down.
The water flow from the lake, well, we're good news now, huh?
We're back to normal.
I
Thankfully.
think it was a little burp in that.
Well,
Screen or
talking
what?
with Mike, Hunchard from Flowrite, who started up the water plant, every valve in that plant, he's been working on since the day we built it. And he's a super clever guy. And our air release manhole up at the Four Corners, it's the highest. When you get out of the hill and dale and the raw water mains or any water main, you have to have air release, a way for the air to get out. And the air releases that we have in a vacuum situation or a pressure loss situation, they will let air back in. So I think the way the screen was plugged up, that maybe we were just getting dragged into the water into the piping as we were running water to the plant. And he seems to think the same thing. Everywhere we have the raw water hydrants and we have the air releases and, I mean, everything's fine now. Pressures on, during flow are right up to where they should be.
Good.
So knock on wood, everything stays. And I think that was the problem. The check valve is still on our radar for sure. He said, you don't need it, so get it out of there. It's 128 years old.
It only makes sense to get
Yeah.
that out of there,
Yeah.
Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's on our,
And now we're gonna put it on a yearly schedule to
Yes.
have that.
the divers are gonna come out every year. I did not budget for it, because budgets were already all set, but it's only $3,800 for them. That was an emergency situation. So I'm sure if we, schedule it, it might be the same price.
Now, they an
It's-
hourly rate, is that how they do it, Mike?
They do it by the trip. So
By
it's,
the trip.
they come out and, they do the work and all the reporting and pictures and all that. And
Yeah, because you showed me, I mean, it looked like they did a really nice job around the outside of
Yeah.
that too, the
Yeah.
intake. Yeah,
And one thing I mentioned at the last meeting that we might want to do, or the meeting before, is they take and they have a pontoon boat that they can go out in the reservoir with. It does have I think they have electric or gas, one way or the other, whichever way we want. And we will obviously zebra mussel wash that thing so we don't have any contamination to our lake. But they go out there with a pump and they can kind of jet wash all the sediment and the weed roots out from around the intake structure, which I think might be something maybe we want to throw on the next town meeting articles for next year to have them do that. Because the weeds at the end of the summer, those weeds, they're towering up over the top of that. They're back a little bit, but
yeah,
that's
especially now.
when they
after what
die off
did.
in the winter and they're close to the intake, and if the plant's running, they just kind of flow up and stick onto the screen, so
Yeah,
something we'll look for the future for
yeah,
sure.
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Just speaking of that, it's not on the agenda, but we did have that water break. You want to just talk about that briefly?
Yeah, so Saturday evening, we had a water main break. We had a lot of people calling for Goodrich Street was out of water. And we found that our 2004 or 5 we installed during the sewer project, we installed a 8-inch water main, high density polyethylene, about 500 feet. We drilled underneath Peggy's Brook to get our old water main crossing taken care of. And something broke on it. I don't know what happened. We were lucky. We were able to, at each end of those drill jobs, when we do them, we put a valve and we shut it off, and there was no house services on it. So we were able to shut it off. I was in Sheffield at a graduation party and Marky was at his house with a family reunion type of thing. So
It's always, and it always happens on the week.
so
Always.
and Tony was down at the Cape. So Marky and I ran, scrambled in and we got it shut off. And by about 8 o'clock, we had things under control. We were losing over 400 gallons a minute. The plant was running. We were pumping almost 400 gallons a minute out of the plant, and the tank alarms came in that the tank was dropping.
When I was taking my shower, I mean, it wasn't a trickle, but it was
Yeah.
not much.
Yeah. So, we have a game plan with Wilkinson's because, I mean, it's 13 feet deep where the water main is broken. We did wash out. I called Wilkinson's and they were there in less than an hour with back truck and their excavator. And I thought it was in a different spot from the way Marky was explaining it to me and people that drove by and saw it. So we ended up having to get a load of gravel. That Huey had some gravel down at the shop, and we used Wilkinson's dump truck and we loaded them up down at the shop, and they dumped because the whole bank kind of were after the brook towards Kathleen Dietrich's, that big steep bank down to the lawn. The road washed out like 3 feet. So we had to get some, there's kids riding bicycles down there, and we wanted to make sure it was safe. So we put gravel in there. And so we're hoping to tackle that next week.
Good.
Yeah.
And again, it always happens
Like I
On
said,
the coldest day of the year or on the weekend. And never on a Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock.
all right, yeah.
Overview on the town meeting articles. I know that we had a lot of articles, and where do we go from here, Mike, with the articles? Like, is it a matter of time before we go out to bid, like painting the treatment, the water plant? And just a sort of an overview of that?
Right, so first, obviously, the money's not available till July 1st. But what we can do for the month of June is get stuff lined up. So we're already working on the trailer, getting quotes in. Mike submitted that information to me today about the shared trailer. We can go out and get quotes for the roof too. So everything under 50,000 is 3 written quotes. If it's between 10 and 50. So we'll begin getting the quotes, lining up the contractors and having things ready to go. Engineering is separate, outside of procurement, so we can continue like some of the stuff Tony has lined up, just getting DPI lined up and ready to go. And then for those projects that are over 50,000, and I don't remember, were there any over 50 other than?
Yeah, that was at 200.
The phase 3.
That's engineering.
Right,
So
right.
that's exempt. So we're
Right.
going with DPI on that. Is it DPI?
DPC.
DPC,
Yep.
sorry. Were there any construction ones over 50? I think they were all between 10 and 50. So we just need to start lining up all the quotes, getting them ready, execute contracts and have the projects ready to go July 1st.
Okay.
Availability of contractors or availability of equipment is the main thing we're running into. Delays in just getting stuff.
Yeah.
So I know we've, like for the highway, we have 1 truck lined up and then the other truck will be lucky if we get it before winter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the same even with the trailer, Mike was having tremendous time, difficulty finding, even getting places to bid on 3 quotes because they just don't have any stock available. So, yeah.
And the price.
Well, we're gonna do our best for the
Eventually.
next, this month of getting everything lined up so we hit the ground running
Good.
for all these projects. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought the town meeting went very well also. I think it was,
It's a long one.
yeah, but not as long as we had.
Got everything done.
But it was well done. And the clickers that yes, no, well, work, I think that works well too. It gets things going, keeps it going. And
Yeah.
it was a lot different than the year before. It was a breath of fresh air. It was good. Stockbridge Bowl stewardship.
You know, we haven't had a couple of meetings we've canceled because we didn't have a quorum, so I've got nothing to report.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, I have one question on that.
Yeah.
So we do have coming up so Charlie Kenny's stepped down as Board of Health representative.
Yeah.
Which you're on the Board of Health.
And I'm probably I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be split between representing this, unless you want to represent this and I represent.
I think Mike's already listed, right?
You're already on there.
One of the sub.
Yeah, Mike's listed as stewardship.
Right. So, right, because there's only 7 voting members and the Board of Health and this board
Yeah.
has a spot on it. And that's what we're running into right now. So we need to make sure. So one of the questions I know could become is whether or not you would become the representative from health, and then whether somebody else from this committee wanted to be the representative from the sewer and water.
So if John goes on the finance committee as representative, can Mike be the sole person representing us?
No, I think Mike's listed separate, right?
Yeah, I'm a voting member. I'm not a resident, but I'm a voting member on the
Right. The
SPSC.
water, yeah. So the water director is listed, plus the water and sewer commission is listed, plus the Board of Health is listed. So,
So you're saying that you do need someone besides the water superintendent
yeah,
from the commission?
right.
My understanding was Charlie couldn't be on this committee because of the fact that I was here, and that would have created a problem for the Board of Health, having 2 members out of the 3. Is that right? Or could he still be a member here?
So what you have to be, well, the difficulty with the Board of Health is that if the Board of Health is in front of that committee for algae blooms or something else, right? Having 2 members from the same board could become where you're discussing something that falls under that board.
That's what he thought.
there's probably less of a chance that you'd ever be discussing something that fell under this board's jurisdiction at an SBSC meeting.
Yeah, I mean, as far as us discussing SBSC stuff at our meetings, I mean, there's not a whole lot of, I mean, it's the Stockbridge Bowl. I mean, there's not we've never talked about anything on the Stockbridge Bowl at any of our meetings, unless it was maybe a backup water supply we were thinking of at some point or something, but.
But when you're discussing like, what is it, the cyanide bacteria, it's a board of health issue.
Right.
When I have two health people on the board and you're discussing a health issue that may have to go in front of them, plus at the SBSC, so that's where you have to be careful. And like
I can see-
I don't think it would happen.
I can see down the line when you start the dredging process or whatever, because our line goes, under the,
The other thing you can do is post every SBSC as also a sewer and water commission meeting. But you can look at doing some double post, but then you have to be careful because you gotta know the subject that's coming up.
yeah.
So
yeah.
it's just gonna become awkward, or the board or the select board, because in the bylaw, they can change the stakeholder groups. They might have to look at changing the stakeholder group and maybe not have it, this committee and that, but
You mean not have the committee period?
no, not have somebody from sewer and water.
Oh, from
Because
sewer.
right now with when Mike listed, sewer and water listed, board of health listed, yeah, and of course Jim Willis, Tri-Town, and Charlie's now the chairman of the Tri-Town.
Right.
And goes to the meetings too, yeah.
He's gonna be coming to the sewer and water meeting, to the SBSC.
Yeah, yeah, it might be thoughts on how to spread that,
Yeah.
that burden out a little bit so that it's not the same people. But one of those, right, could be asking this board to have somebody else represent, so you could represent health, because there's less of a chance of something coming forward, so.
And a side note, the harvester ready to go, the other harvester
The other
too?
harvester's ready to go. What I'm trying to do is finalize when they're gonna come out and do the water chestnut, because they don't want us disturbing that area, which is the inlet, so that they can get the water chestnuts out, then cut. So I wanna have us ready. So we could put the bigger harvester rig in, but we're hoping to still get that motor for the smaller one, so we don't even have to use it, so,
Good.
yeah.
And again, the beach, the job at the beach, my wife and I go up there every now and then, and we have a kayak rack up there. And it's a great job. They did a wonderful job up there. What a difference.
And once they get the grass and the rest
Yeah.
growing in, it'll
Yeah.
look great.
It really
It's
is.
greening in.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, get some rain and we'll be good to go. Nice job. Tony, Mike, any concerns?
Mike we opened the bid for the sludge hauling on Friday, or I wasn't here, but Mike and Marky did. And I think he has the results.
Yeah, it came in, we put it, 4 companies requested, we received 1, which Tony said probably would happen, and it did, from wastewater servicing, which has been the same company for many years, 0.169. So,
Is that close to where we were before, Tony?
No, we were just under a penny. Now we're 1 penny, just under 2, well, 3/4 of the way to 2 pennies, almost.
Okay. Well, that's good. And you've always been happy with them. They've always,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a group we've worked with for years.
yeah, and I think it's just the way of the world at the moment that, hopefully in 3 years, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Mike?
On the overview of the articles, I have started to get prices on the painting of the roof. And I emailed Chris Main and I think the guy's name is Stephen Roy at GZA about the bathymetry and the Sayfield. So they're all on, been alerted, and they're just to let everybody know that we're, July 1, we're ready to start work. So, and high lift pump number 3 is all refurbished and ready to come. They're coming back next week to reinstall that. So we'll get that hooked back up and running and test it out. Jeff Jardine, our forester, did he send the contract back, Mike, on the logging up here? We had some emails going back and
I
forth
thought
last
we
week.
went back and forth. I didn't see it. Did he have a contract?
I'm pretty sure he did. I thought he had the contract in there. We have, a logger that is interested in, we're at the stage of getting, we have one logger that'll come and cut all that poplar and that ash out of there, so.
Do you know
I
him,
think it
Mike?
was 7,500. Jeff said these guys were two brothers that, I don't think they've worked for us yet, but he's worked with them a lot, and he said they are,
If he says,
Top-notch.
if he says
Yeah.
they're good,
yeah.
they're good. Good. And 7,500?
$7,500 to get all that wood out of there, and, it's
Are
great.
we-
We've been trying to sell it for 4 years,
Are
so
we replanting also or
we
not?
are gonna do a big replanting, yes.
I think
And
that's-
actually, Jeff has gotten, and he's doing that forestry, the forestry management plan, which we got a grant for. But we're gonna have money, when the new budget flips and when we'll carry over some, we're gonna do a pretty good sizable planting, however many seedlings we can get of various different, species. We're gonna go up there and plant a lot of them.
Now, have you contacted, or we hope that the guy who did Tony's roof will be bidding on that?
Oh, yes.
Because that guy I thought did a
Yeah.
Yeah,
great job.
He's the one who did when he was here 2 weeks ago and did our tank, the little expansion cracks, contracting cracks in the concrete on the top of the water tank. He came and sealed it up. Bless you, 2 weeks ago. And he looked at the roof again, and, he's working up the price, and he sent us the spec that we used, that he had for the roof on the wastewater. And he said, write that up as the same spec. So I had sent that to Mike and said I would write it up, and then we can send that out on town letterhead and just say, here's the spec, can you give us a price on painting it?
Now, your roof, like Tony's, have gutters also?
Yes.
Because I know that guy did all the gutters, and I mean, it looks,
He does.
to me, it looked brand new.
The ice slides, all that.
Nice job.
He also painted our clarifiers twice. He's been around.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And so pump 3, the planting, and, yeah, that's it.
You guys going on vacation this summer?
Yeah, we're going up to, Lake Champlain.
Good. And Tony, you ever on and off to the Cape?
Yeah, we got a few long weekends planned.
Hope to get down there myself. Okay, nothing else? John?
That's it.
Want to make a motion?
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Okay, so moved.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike, for being here.
Oh, get back to the garden.
Yes.